However, as soon as you two were born, the most peculiar thing happened. Your world and this world slowly started to move at similar speeds. It's the greatest magic I have seen in my lifetime. Being your father's children means that you have part of this world inside of you. You always have. You two are the first children born of both worlds. You are the bridge that connects them. The twins were so relieved to know that their mother would be the same age when they returned. You mean, Alex began to ask, but paused because it almost seemed too good to be true. That Connor and I are part fairy? I suppose so, if you put it that way, she said. Alex placed both of her hands over her heart, and tears came to her eyes. Connor rolled his eyes and sighed. That's wonderful, Alex said. Oh, great, Connor said sarcastically. The guys at school can never hear about this. How else did you think you set off my old storybook? Grandma said. Alex sat straight up in her seat. She remembered the night in bed when she was holding the land of stories and wishing with all her heart to travel inside it. The first night she discovered it wasn't an average book. You mean I did that? She asked. I made the land of stories bring us here? Yes, Grandma said. A proud smile filled her face. Alex couldn't believe it. She was magic. She'd made it happen. It all makes so much sense now, Alex said. In the castle the evil queen was hiding in, my tear activated the wishing spell, and I saw my reflection in one of her magic mirrors. I had wings. I thought I was just seeing things. Evil queen? Their grandmother asked. It sounds like you two have had even more of an adventure here than I thought. You can say that again, Connor said. I look forward to hearing all about it, their grandma said. Your mother has been worried sick. She's had to give your school every excuse known to man as to why you two have been gone. I think it's time I took you home. Home. She was going to take them home. Never had a word sounded so beautiful. Can you do that? Connor said. You'd be amazed at the things your grandma can do, she laughed, but her look faded as she sadly looked down at the journal that had belonged to her late son. Amazing, isn't it? Even in death, your father managed to show you around this place. It had been his dream all along. Alex and Connor had always thought that their father was amazing, but until now, they never knew just how amazing he actually was. The twins and their grandmother left the clock tower and caught Sir Lambton leaning on the door, closely listening to their conversation. He escorted them back down the stairs to the ballroom. I knew your father, Lambton whispered into the twins' ears. We grew up together. I knew you must have been his children the very second I saw you. That's why I put the glass slipper in your bag. The twins couldn't even acknowledge it with a smile. Their minds were already overloaded. They walked into the ballroom, and everyone stood at the sight of the fairy godmother. Everyone, please have a seat. I've come to bless the baby princess with a gift, and then I'm going to take my grandchildren home, she said, and put her arms around Alex and Connor. Grandchildren? Cinderella asked. I had no idea. Why, that practically makes us family, she said, smiling at the twins. Did you hear that, Alex? Connor said, leaning close to his sister. Cinderella herself just said we're practically family. I know, Alex peeped, and I'm trying not to cry. The fairy godmother took the newborn princess into her arms. The twins were excited to see their grandmother in action. She's beautiful, dear, she said to Cinderella. My gift to the princess will be bravery. She may need it in the years to come. The fairy godmother kissed the newborn's cheek. Her lips left a sparkly mark on the infant's face, and it slowly faded away as the gift was absorbed. Before I go, I have one more gift to give, the fairy godmother said, and took out her long crystal wand. Will the gentleman known as Froggy please come to the front of the room? Froggy, who had been partially hiding behind the charming kings, cautiously met the fairy godmother in the middle of the room. Thank you so much for looking out for my grandchildren, the twins' grandmother said. I will never be able to thank you enough, but for now, I'd like to take away the curse put upon you. Froggy's mouth opened extra wide. He kept looking back and forth between the twins and the fairy godmother. He started, but couldn't finish. The fairy godmother waved her wand, and the curse cast upon him blew away like dandelion seeds in the wind. Froggy wasn't Froggy anymore. He was a man. He was a very attractive man, too, with dark hair and eyes that illuminated the entire room. It was shocking for the twins to see him as anything else. Charlie? King Chance said. Is that you? The charming brothers all leaned closer to him. They had stared at him as if they were looking at a ghost. Hello, brother, Froggy said. It's been a long time. The charming's amazement eventually wore off and turned into celebration. They ran over to their long-lost brother and vigorously embraced him. The room erupted with joy at the long-overdue reunion. Red Riding Hood was quietly blushing to herself. She was looking at Prince Charlie in a completely new way. He wasn't the friendly frogman who'd saved her in the collapsing castle anymore. He was husband material. We thought you were dead, Chandler said, rubbing his brother's head. We've searched every kingdom for you, Chase said, patting him on the back. Now you know why you couldn't find me, Charlie said and shrugged. Why didn't you tell us? Chance asked. I was ashamed, Charlie said. I didn't know any better. I thought I had to hide. Please forgive me. The twins couldn't believe it. Now they knew why he had been acting so strange when they'd arrived. So you're a prince? Alex asked with a gigantic smile on her face. You forgot to mention that part. My apologies, Charlie said. I could have sworn I had mentioned it over the lily pad tea. They laughed together. Charlie ran over to the twins and hugged them almost as tightly as his brothers had just hugged him. Thank you, Charlie said, for inspiring me to come out of that hole in the ground. Thank you, Alex said. I'm still calling you Froggy, Connor said. The fairy godmother waved her crystal wand one last time, and a door appeared in the middle of the ballroom. She walked over to the twins and placed a hand on top of both of their shoulders. It's time, she said. The twins recognized the door immediately. It was the front door of their rental house. They had never been so happy to see it. A light was shining through it. They knew their mother was waiting for them on the other side. All the kings, queens, and fairies in the room looked at Alex and Connor sweetly. Although most of them had had their predicaments with the twins, they were sad to see them go. Say goodbye, Grandmother told the twins. Connor couldn't wait any longer and ran straight to the door. Bye! Connor yelled at everyone in the room without looking at them. He ran through the door and disappeared, home at last. Alex looked up at her grandma. Will we ever come back? She asked, hoping with all her heart for the answer she wanted to hear. Someday, her grandma said. Alex took a step toward the men and women she had grown up reading about her entire life. She could have sworn she had had a dream just like this one once. She had been meaning to say something and decided this might be her last chance to say it. I know this might not make any sense, but thank you for always being there for me, Alex said. You're the best friends I've ever had. They didn't quite understand what she meant, but they were all very touched by her words. Come along, dear, her grandma said, and escorted her to the door. Alex wiped away the tears that had been brought on by saying farewell. She couldn't help but smile as she walked through the door with her grandmother, though, because she knew in her heart it wasn't really goodbye.